I think he should use it if they win in game 2. I think he should use it if they win in game 3, game 4, game 5.
Yeah, just be the villain.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show with my brother, BD. What's happening, my dog?
What's up, big dog?
Playoffs is crazy, bro. I know you was at that game the other night.
I know.
Obviously, I was there. How you feeling after your Knicks tape fell off, bro?
Oh, man. Defeated, depleted. Just kind of like punched in it. Like, you get the wind knocked out of you.
Mm-hmm.
When you standing in front of somebody when you was a kid and you don't know if you really about to fight that person, but they take off on you and give you one in the gut and knock the wind out of you. You like, oh, damn. Okay, this may not be a fight. Like, how am I going to hit this fool back? I got to get my wind back. But that's how I felt, bro. That's how I felt. I think, the Knicks played great for 45 minutes of the basketball they wanted to play. The last 3 minutes of those 48, they kind of just start unraveling. And I don't think it was the pressure of, the Eastern Conference Finals or this and that. I just think that they kind of like lost focus. Sometimes you can get up and shit is going well, you're the aggressor, and then all of a sudden, a couple of things don't go your way, and then you get in panic mode. And that's what I think. I think the turnovers, I think the ability not to handle Indiana's pressure down the stretch. We didn't show a lot of poise. That was my takeaway. It was a gut punch, right? It was like we got the wind knocked out of us big time, the whole city.
It's tough, man, when you win a game in the playoff series. Like, you literally win the game and you look up and your record has one more loss. It's one thing to get outplayed and lose a game. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing for the ball not to go in. Like, all of these things happen. But when you won the game and you lose in a playoff series, completely just give the game away, it's hard to come back from that because, again, it's one thing if you're just the superior team and you lost focus. And you're like, oh, man, we'll get it together. We mopped these guys. But when you're remotely close teams, you're going to have one bad game throughout the series where the ball just don't go in. And so you're fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the series to try to make this game up. And when I look at this, the collapse the other day, you look at Cat. I watch interviews. Like, interviews tell you a lot. You look at Cat in the post game, he could barely get to a sentence. Him and Jalen Brunson sat up there together. Jalen did most of the talking. Like, you could just tell they were crushed. And you got to come back from that. Like,
yep.
And I just don't know if they can recover from that gut punch. Like, end of the day, series is 1-0. But all wins aren't created equal.
No, for sure.
The series is just 1-0. But now they have to fight to win the game. They also have to fight this feeling that anytime they get a lead in the rest of this series, it's going to be like,
pressure.
Oh, man, oh, my God, like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that again.
Don't
we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And,
all that shit.
And so you're fighting that, too, now. And
yep.
We were sitting up there by the Billy Joel sign. Like, we was up there with the guy that go to, the dude that played the organ.
Yeah.
We were sitting up there with him.
He called.
He crazy with it. We were sitting up there with him. I had a bird's eye view. And one thing I noticed, and I was really shocked because you like to think that Knicks fan would want to take all of it in, like to win. They want to winning in the conference finals for the Knicks, like they want to feel every emotion they can feel throughout. And so I was shocked to see about 4 or 5 minutes ago, a few fans leaving. Were you one of those fans that was leaving?
Man, that's jacked up because we up 14. We drove to the game. So we parked in the parking structure.
I didn't even know
So,
there
you
was
know,
parking in New York City.
Yeah, man, it's a parking structure right across the street from the garden. So me and my homie, we go to the parking structure. And if you ever been in a parking lot in New York City, it give me anxiety. Man, they park on the side, up the ramp. I'm like, how the hell you get out of here? How they get all these cars in here? First of all, how they gonna get all these cars out of here? So I'm thinking like, damn, bro, we on the 4th floor, right? It's going to take us about an hour and a half if we don't be the first people to walk out of here and be in our car and start moving down the ramp. You know what I mean? Before everybody start coming out. About 2 minutes to go, we have 14. Me and homie sitting there. I'm like, damn, bro. He like, man, he feeling good. He a Knicks fan. He like, yeah, we got this. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, damn, I'm thinking about this parking. So we sitting there talking for like the next 30 seconds. I'm like, man, let's just shoot to the parking lot. You feel me? Let's shoot to the parking lot. So good thing I don't know where I'm going. I was kind of disoriented. So so I walk so so I walk to leave. I run into JR. Swiss, he on the other side. He like, boom, come sit with me and Mello. I'm like, oh man, you know the game over, Swiss. He was like, man, come sit with us. I go over there, sit on the floor, say what's up to LJ, all the Nick alum. You know, next thing you know, Indiana down 8, right? We talking Indiana down 5. Now we over there panicking. Now we over there
Yo,
panicking.
close out the game. Like, come on, man.
I mean, like, you know, everybody said something. Everybody like, come on, man, shit. You know, all we got to do is protect the ball, make some free throws. And then when Haliburton shot the ball, I was like, man, there's no way this shit gonna go in, right? Man, when the ball bounced, I started walking out the arena, dude. I was like, damn, it's over. I thought he hit a 3. Then somebody was like, oh, it was a 2. I came back. I said, Spree, is it a 2? He was like, yeah, it was a 2. I was like, damn. Shiz, the homie, was already at the parking lot. He kept mobbing. He kept mobbing to the parking lot. I call him. I'm like, yo, where you at? He was like, man, we beat the traffic. I'm about to pick you up. I'm like, nah, dog, it's overtime. You may need to get back in here.
He like, what?
So damn, like, you shouldn't have left that game.
That part.
And there was some big Knicks fans that was leaving on my side, too. I was like, whoo, man, like, I was like, how you feeling? He was like, man, it's going to depend on how the outcome of this game. And he left like a minute. So I don't know if that dude even made it home safe. He probably crashed something. he probably crashed something.
Listen, bro, the energy in this city
is crazy.
I saw people last night. You know, I know guys who own different restaurants and social clubs, where they said the vibe was so crazy in the places.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
And then once the game ended, it was just like
silence. Yep.
Everybody started going home. Like the night was over. It's crazy because me and Chuck was standing up there 5 minutes before in the game. We like, woo, man, New York City is about to be great tonight. And it just fell apart. I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe
it just went silent.
What I was watching. And now I'm so excited to go to the game tonight because as a player in these moments, one of the things that Steve talks about oftentimes in these hot pressure moments is, yo, let's make that crowd nervous. Let's go in here 3-3, game 7. And I've obviously been in this situation a bunch of times with Steve Kerr. Let's go in here, play our game, let it fly. We letting it rip. You open, let it rip. We ain't got nothing to lose. Like, we good. We here. We already know how this is going to go. And then he say, let's make that crowd nervous. Let's put some doubt in that crowd. We want to hear the angst that you want to hear that from the crowd. I'm looking forward to tonight and just seeing the angst of the crowd. Because if they miss them first few shots, it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be so much angst. And that's what I'm here to see, man. You got to make the crowd nervous. And if I'm Indiana, I'm coming in here to make this crowd so nervous. If Indiana start the game how they started game one, they hit like their first 8 or 9 shots in.
Yeah, they hit a bunch of shots.
You looked up, they were up 4 points. I was like, man, that's not good. But if they start off hitting shots like they did in game one, I'm just telling you, it's going to be tough, BD.
The NBA 82-game grind is done. Now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs. Love them. They're here. Time for drama, clutch moments, Steph Curry, LeBron, jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Playing games all the way to the finals. Now's the time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. So all season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props. That doesn't stop now. If you want to make your playoff experience even more intense, try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30, 40, who knows, or more? It's your call. If you're ready to place your first bet, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. Lock in your bets, and let's make the playoffs unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. DraftKings customers that are new, bet $5. That's it, $5, and get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Just make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download their Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. The code's Colin, C-O-L-I-N. That is code Colin. New customers get $200 in bonus bets. Betting just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
If you're not watching Dark Side of the Ring on Vice TV, you're missing the most jaw-dropping stories in wrestling history. It's the docuseries that pulls back the curtain on the wild, heartbreaking, and straight-up unbelievable moments that shaped the sport. From backstage chaos to scandals that the industry tried to bury.
And this week's season finale is one of the most explosive yet. Just 3 years after 9/11, WWE introduced a new villain, an Arab American named Muhammad Hassan. But behind the character of Mark Capani, a young Italian-American actor thrown into the spotlight with a role designed to stir controversy. The reaction? Instant outrage. One infamous segment even aired the same day as a real-world terror attack.
The backlash was massive, and just like that, Hassan disappeared from TV forever. The episode breaks it all down. The rise, the fall, and the fallout, one of the most infamous gimmicks in wrestling history. The season finale of Dark Side of the Ring airs Tuesday, May 27th at 10 p.m., only on Vice TV. Go to vicetv.com to find your cable channel.
You got to play the game, right? And so it's a new game. So at some point, you got to put game one behind. You got to come out and know that you played great basketball. You had control. For 45 minutes, that's all you got to do is close. Then you got to get to Indiana and you can steal one. Because the matchups is there. I still think the Knicks have the superior matchups. I still think that they will beat Indiana and will beat Indiana in Indiana. And, the playoffs, the Eastern Conference Finals starts when somebody wins on the road.
So it started there.
Yeah, it did. It's on and cracking. Yeah, it's on and cracking. I mean, you talk about stealing one, right? That was thievery at its finest, man. What do you think about Tyrese Haliburton? He hit the Reggie Miller choke celebration. Oh, that was cold-blooded. Man.
Hey, as much as I love the choke celebration, and I pray to God the NBA don't find him. We take so many things so literal, and in today's day and age, you can't act like you're choking someone. And let's face it.
Come on.
The guy is not really about to choke someone. And so I hope the NBA don't find him because that's what we paying to see. You talk about entertainers being entertainers. You talk about stars being stars on the biggest stage at the Mecca. The stars showing up. I pray the NBA don't find him. But I will tell you this about the choke. My favorite thing about the choke was Tyrese after the game saying, I don't know if I should have used it in game one.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my
That
favorite
shit
part.
That may come back to haunt you, Killer.
Oh, hey, I'm telling you, that was my favorite part of the show. He said, I don't know if I should have used it in game one, but I'm here to say, I think he should use it if they win in game two. I think he should use it if they win in game three, game four, game five.
Yeah, just be the villain.
Like, just lean into it at this point now, because the run back down the court with Reggie Miller himself in the building,
yeah, that was
Spike
crazy.
Lee in the building.
And Spike wasn't there.
Spike wasn't in the building?
Nah, Spike wasn't in the building.
I thought Spike was in the building. Okay.
Dave Chappelle was in the building.
That's shocking. Spike wasn't in the building. I told you, listen, from where we were sitting, you couldn't see who.
You couldn't see. They look like magnets.
Yeah, you could. But I thought Spike. But to run down the court like this, man,
that's ill. Bro.
That's crazy. I can't believe you did that.
That's ill. Tyrese Haliburton made 4 game-tying or go-ahead field goals in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter. That's third behind Reggie Miller with 5 and LeBron James with 8. Since 1997, the year I graduated from high school. You weren't even born yet, bro.
That's crazy. Don't do me like that. I was 7.
You was a young junior deacon.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Yeah, absolutely. I was 7. You know what I'm saying? Still in Sunday school every Sunday. Didn't go to church. You know what I'm saying? For sure. I was still in church choir at that age. You better believe it.
Me too, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to.
I got out the church choir, BD. We were singing, Kirk Franklin, There's a Man. Standing. I had the first part. There's a man standing, and I was almost talking it, and my family talked about me so bad. They said I said there's a man. Oh yeah, and that was the end of my choir days when they talked about how I led out with the song. But yeah, bro, I was 7 at that time. That's crazy though.
We gotta put you at the alto. We gotta put you in the back, the alto.
Right. They had me the lead off batter. I set the tone. It wasn't a good tone.
You was done after that.
I remember my outfit, though. It's for Easter Sunday. I had some new black jeans my mom had bought me and a red #1 Maryland Terrapins jersey. I don't know why. It was a football jersey.
At church?
Yeah, bro. I ain't had no money like that. I ain't had no extra outfit. I had to wear that, I had to wear that outfit to school on Monday.
Damn.
I had to wear that outfit to school on Monday, BD.
Damn.
That was my Easter Sunday outfit. And the last name on the back of the #1 Maryland Terrapin jersey, it just said Terrapins. So that was my choir days. 97, that's what I had going on, baby.
That's so killer.
Man, bro, Brunson, obviously clutch player of the year. When I'm looking at this Pacer team, though, teams all year has watched Jalen Brunson dominate the fourth quarter. And I thought Rick Carlisle did one good thing, and it was alarming to me. Rick Carlisle late in the fourth quarter in overtime, start trapping Jalen Brunson. And I don't think he's seen traps all year. And one of the alarming things to me about that, BD, was you're always in game one looking for the adjustment for game two. And unfortunately for the Knicks, the Pacers get to make all the adjustments that they know lost them the game, but they won the game. And so I think Rick Carlisle was like, yeah, we're going to start blitzing them next game. And then like you said, 14 turned into 11, 11 turned into 8, 8 turned to 5, 5 turned to 2. And all of a sudden, Rick Carlisle, like, maybe we got a chance to win this game. We're going to start blitzing now. And they started blitzing. And one of the alarming things to me was Jalen Brunson in the blitz, as soon as the trap started to converge on him,
he had a problem.
He never looked up. Every time the blitz came, two guys, he
tried to split.
Down, went down.
Tried to split.
Yeah, and then he threw some of the passes. He jumped out of bounds. Even if you don't blitz him the whole game, if Indiana feel like they don't blitz him the whole game, I think you have to give Jalen Brunson a different coverage in the fourth quarter then you do the rest of the game. And if I'm them every fourth quarter, I'm trapping the hell out of him because OG Anunoby, none of those guys have been in these positions much to take over the game down the stretch. OG had a couple game winners, and that's fine, but they haven't consistently had to make the plays down the stretch because Jalen makes them, and he's made them all year.
Yep.
And I want to put them guys in that position. So in the fourth quarter, I need to see a totally different game plan.
Yeah, I think the Knicks need to work on the press break, right? If Jalen Brunson is your primary ball handler, your primary scorer, and Carlisle starts to trap him, you got to figure out who else can bring the ball up and settle us down.
Yep.
And I think putting that pressure on Jalen Brunson to try and beat two people every time, and him putting that pressure on himself, right, is really, you ain't worked on a press break. You got to work on some pressure releases, get Mikal Bridges in the middle of the floor or OG. You got to put pressure. You got to put pressure on pressure. And I think the Knicks, what they did was they kind of like allowed the pressure to happen and then tried to force. That's what pressure does. It creates force.
Mm-hmm.
And it forces you to do things instead of creating more pressure on their defense. If it's a two-man trap, then it should be a 3-on-2 on the back end. And the Knicks they never got a wide open shot, a layup, a foul, or even let the shot clock expire, right? That was my issue. We need a press break, and we need to figure out a way if Jalen Brunson going to start getting double-teamed and trapped at the end of the game. He got to get off the rock, and then he got to get the rock back with 8-7 seconds on the shot clock. So if they double again, at least we go get a wide open shot.
Mm-hmm. Get him out the front of the defense.
Who you got winning this series?
Man, I want to believe the Knicks going to win this series, but I just don't see it happening, BD.
Oh, my gosh.
I want to believe they're going to win it. Pascal Siakam played not that good, and they won this game, and that's trouble. Miles Turner effectively got benched, and they won game one. And BD, that's trouble, man. I know trouble when I see it. I grew up in Saginaw like you grew up in South Central. You know trouble when you see it coming from a mile away. That's trouble, BD.
All right, Dove Nation, what up? We got to start this segment by congratulating you. Named first team all-defensive for the 5th time in your career. 9 all-defensive teams in a 13-year career. Bro, congratulations.
Appreciate you.
Well deserved. I also want to add in, which I have been saying all year on the podcast, Steve Kerr said at the end of the season, he mentioned that starting you at center, I think is doable for the last 30 games like we did this year. But as you see, it takes a toll on him. One, congratulations.
Appreciate you, bro.
What do you think about, those comments? Because I agree. I've been saying that all year. When Draymond Green does not have to assume all of the defensive responsibilities, then it makes the engine turn, right?
First off, thank you. For me to be on all defense first team and look at the guys next to me, 26 years old, 23 years old, 22 years old, 22 years old, I'm sitting there looking at that like, wow, man, like, I remember being a young guy in the league and like still seeing Tim Duncan making all defensive teams, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, he's still doing it. And to be completed year 13 and still up there with those young guys. And like it's such an honor to be up there with those guys because I remember being that young guy. And I know that grind of like, yo, what you striving for? And so to understand their mindset and where they are in their careers and how every day looks for them and knowing how every day looks for me and where I am in my career and to still be up there, bro, it's such an honor. And I'm ecstatic. To have 5 first teams is a big deal to me, and I'll tell you why.
That's huge.
Because it's one thing to be on all defensive team. I love it. But I had the pleasure and honor of having Chris Paul as a teammate last year. And, bro, I think CP got like 7 first teams. So it actually inspired me. I said it to CP last year, like, see, you got 7 first teams? And so I want that, and, man, to be on that list is incredible. And as far as what Steve said, God bless his heart.
Yeah, it was real.
It's because playing playing the five, it's hard. Like, it's hard. And I'm always down to do it, as you know, bro. Like, any challenge you throw my way, I'll take on the challenge. But it's hard battling every night guys who outweigh me by 60 to 80 pounds. And they
4 inches, 5
6,
inches,
7 inches taller than me.
height,
like,
yeah.
It does take a toll. And in most situations for me, where I notice it's take the toll, like, I come out in the first half because I still got my legs, and like the J ball is fire. You know what I'm saying? Then I come out in the second half where you've been battling.
You can't even feel it.
You anchor in the defense. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people understand the toll of and what anchoring the defense requires. Like, that means every possession, I have to put myself in a position to stop a fire. You know what I'm saying? To like help stop something. Like, it takes a lot. You know what I'm saying? But like I always say, I'm cut out for it. Whenever our organization need to go to it, I'm right here. Let's do it. I ain't gonna never complain about it. But I agree with Steve. If we can have a different starting center, and at some point, if we need to go to that, cool. But it's a lot. And as I get older and older in this league, it becomes tougher and tougher. These guys get younger, more athletic. And like I said, I think I'm more than capable of hanging with the young guys and the athleticism. But it does take its toll. So I agree.
Yeah, you need a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be matched up with everybody. And you know, looking at, you know, the time now is you switching out to a one, you switching out to Anthony Edwards, you switching out to Julius Randle, you switching out to Naz Reid, you got Rudy Gobert, you got to stand them up, you got Sagoon, you got Adams, you trying to stand them up, you trying to switch off to Jalen Green. You know, it becomes the toll, right? Because all you thinking about is defense, 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 because that's the only real energy that you have to get that rebound or to stop that pick and roll. So on the offensive end, I always say this, is it takes away from you, because you are you're an offensive playmaker for the team. So if you don't feel like you can make a play, you can finish a play, you can shoot the ball to keep the defense honest, then it kind of disrupts the offensive flow. But if you can come in and say, hey, I'm going guarding a power forward all game, and then I'm going to wind up on Sagoon at the end of the game, then it makes your job easier, right? And it makes anchoring easy, but it also saves a lot of legs, your intellect, you know, and you can get more out of Draymond Green on the offensive end. And, you know, that's what I've been saying all year, but I've been seeing it taking a toll. That's what I asked, how you feel, man? Because I can see, like, you're wearing down, right? You're wearing down because at every game you got to push some big dudes around. You know what I mean?
1,000%. Now, I can feel that. So I agree. When I look back at 2022 when we won that championship, bro, and specifically I go back to that Denver series, just about every game, we would start Looney on Joker. And then I switch to Joker. And even if it's for the first 6 minutes, bro, it makes such a big difference. Even if it's for 6 minutes. Loon battle with him, and then I go battle with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes all the difference in the world. So I'm rolling. I think I can use that. So I love it.
Congrats, my bro. Congrats.
Appreciate it, my dog. Hey, so we all make mistakes, but owning up is the right thing to do. You know Degree Cool Rush deodorant? Well, last year, they changed the formula, and it did not go well with their fans.
Degree's whole thing is it turns up the sweat and odor protection when you turn up the effort. And good thing it does, because Cool Rush fans really turned up the effort to bring back the original formula. One guy even started an online petition.
And Degree, listen, they admitted they effed up and are bringing the original Cool Rush scent back. And it's exactly how you remember it. Cool, crisp, and fresh. It's back in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4.
There's a reason why it's been the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. It's the same reason why people were not happy when it changed. So if you never tried it, it might be a good time to see what the fuss is about.
Head to your local Walmart or Target to try the OG Degree Cool Rush for yourself. All right, fight fans, mark your calendars, because this is not your average night of boxing. BKB Bare Knuckle Boxing is back with Brawl and Duval 2. live on Vice TV Friday, May 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern. No gloves, no gimmicks, just 2 fists, 1 ring, and absolutely 0 room to hide.
If you never watched bare knuckle before, this is your shot. It's raw, it's brutal, it's real combat at its most primal. Every punch counts, every second matters. And the knockouts, they're nasty. You can feel them in your chest.
We're talking fighters who leave it all in the pit. Real warriors going toe-to-toe for pride, for respect, and for that W. Brawl in Duval 2 is the rematch card fans have been waiting for, and it's only on Vice TV.
So if you like your fights fast, savage, and unpredictable, don't miss this. BKB, Brawl in Duval 2, live Friday, May 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Vice TV. Go to Vice TV to find your cable channel.
So yeah, I'm definitely rocking with Steve on that. I agree 100%. And also, speaking of Steve comments, I know there's a big fuss about his statement on Jonathan Kuminga yesterday. And for our fans out there that haven't seen the statement, I'll give you some context. I think he was on with Tim Kawakami, and they were talking about JK, and Steve's answer was it's a tricky one because Jonathan obviously is gifted and wants to play a bigger role and wants to play more. And for me, I've been asked to win. And right now, he's not a guy who I can say I'm going to play 38 minutes with the roster that we have, Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond, and put the puzzle together that way and expect to win. And so I think, when I look at that statement, I think I take a couple things away from that statement. One being, he said, with this roster that we have, I'm not sure. He didn't say that Jonathan Kuminga can't play 38 minutes anywhere and be a successful player and be an impactful player and possibly reach his promise. That's not what he said. He said, with this roster, I don't see how that piece fits. Now, do I agree with that? I don't know that I necessarily agree because you just haven't seen it. And so I'm not of the mindset that something just doesn't work that you haven't had the chance to see much of. But also in saying that, I think when you look at Steve, one thing that he's shown as a coach is he going to make the decision that he thinks is best, regardless of what it comes with. We're talking about the same man, the same legend that didn't play Jason Tatum in the Olympics and dealt with all flack that came with that. But at the end, to his point, his ultimate goal is to win. And they won the gold medal, and that's what he set out to do. So here, I understand what he's saying. I don't necessarily agree because we just haven't seen it and seen much of it. So to actually know if it does work. But if you JK, you got to make the best decision for you. You got to try to put yourself in the best position that you can possibly put yourself in. And so I wouldn't get caught up into Steve said this or Steve said that. I think if you're Jonathan Kuminga in this moment, Steve Kerr is Steve Kerr. He's a legend. He will be a Hall of Famer. These are just the facts. And so in saying that, I'm not sure it's worth getting caught up into the, man, he said this, my next interview, whenever that may be, I need to respond. Quite frankly, I don't think JK should have a next interview until after free agency because for what? And I think in this position where JK has to be careful is Steve Kerr is the legend. Steve Kerr is one of the greatest coaches we've seen. JK can only lose here. Like, he can say something back. It could be the wrong thing, but he can only lose here. He has nothing to gain from trying to say something back, trying to respond to that. And he can only lose and hurt himself here. So don't say nothing. Like, free agency is happening. You got to go into free agency, whether that's, he's a restricted free agent. You got to figure out what's going to work for you. And that's going to happen anyway. So I would just say, man, Steve going to believe what he believes. And his beliefs has worked. He won 4 championships. So I'm not going to sit here and argue or go back and forth about his beliefs, and I don't think JK should either. But at the same time, if I'm JK and I'm in them shoes, I heard it. I need to move accordingly. figure out what's for me. But Steve sit here and question him why. He got 4 championships. And I'll remind you, last time I said that to him, I said, wow, coach, we got 4 of them things. He said, I ain't got 4. I got 9. You got 4. So that man know how to win. And there's no point in sitting here trying to question what he knows. It's been proven that he knows how to win. He knows what it takes to win. I think JK is going to be a great player. Whether he show that with the Warriors or show that somewhere else, that's on him to figure that out and his team to figure that out. But what's been proven is Steve Kerr know how to win, and JK is an incredible talent. Those things are mutually exclusive. Both things can be true, and they cannot work together. And that happens in this league all the time. It is what it is. I wouldn't make too much of it. I don't think he should make too much of it. I know Steve won't make too much of it. I think, JK, you heard it. It is what it is. I'm not sure that him saying that in words is any different than A, any conversation he's had with JK, or B, what you kind of thought. Anyway, so it's been said in words. It's been put in front of you. But I don't think it's really much different than what you already thought. Just put it in words. So moving on, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Free agency is happening. You got to figure that out. You got to navigate in passing. Before we get out of here, I know we haven't talked about the OKC Minnesota series much. It's obviously Minnesota's down 0-2. So to your point of a road team not winning, it just don't feel like the series is even going on. Who you got winning that series? Like, can Minnesota put it together? Do you think they can come back? And if not, how long it's taking OKC to end that series?
I don't know. I go to a quote by a legend, a young legend, Draymond Green, and he says, role players do what?
They play better at home.
So we'll see what happens. When OKC still won in Minnesota, then that's when the series happens.
That part.
Until then, we got to wait to Game 3 to see what Minnesota is really going to bring to the table. But, you look at that 13, the big blowout that they lost last night by like 13, 14 or whatnot. Can the role players be 13, 15, 16 points better? Can Anthony Edwards be 10 points better? Julius Randle, right? So they have room for improvement, but you gotta go serve on your home court.
You definitely got to go home. They got to get some home cooking. You need Dante to play better. You're going to need Nas Reed to be better, right? Like, to your point of the role players. And I think Minnesota's getting a little caught up in the whole Shai foul bait conversation because I can see some of their reactions to Shai when he get fouled, right? Like Ant-Man throwing the ball at him in game 1. Jaden McDaniels just pushing you down in game 2. I love Jaden McDaniels' answer. He stood on, he said, I just wanted to foul him. Like, and he ended up getting a flagrant 1 for it. But to me, that looked like frustration. And OKC can possibly be feeding on that. So, I think, we need to see them guys recalibrate, get home, gather themselves, make a couple adjustments. But the number one adjustment going to be like the stars got to play better. Like Julius had a really good game 1. And I think they had 20 at halftime, and then he didn't touch the ball the first 9 minutes of the second half, and it changed everything. So you're going to need those guys to be great. But in saying that, OKC look like they're going to be too much for these boys. They rolling. We'll see, man, but we're going to get out of here. We'll be back. We'll talk more about these conference finals as they go. We'll see if Minnesota able to make it a series. And if your Knicks tape, if they can bounce back. Till next time, that's a wrap from the Draymond Green Show with my brother, Baron Davis.
Yeah. Peace.